So one of the questions I do see online quite often is, why is car insurance mandatory? Why do I have to carry that coverage? I don't want to pay this extra cost for a car I barely use. Well, that's not always the case. In some states, car insurance isn't mandatory. There's very few, but there are some states that don't require it. And one of the things they do is they kind of do require you to do some steps to prove that you don't need it. So if you have your own finances where you can pay someone's claim or pay an accident, then sure, they're going to allow you to kind of self-insure yourself. And that basically means that you're not going to pay those extra premiums. You just have to prove that you have the income in the bank. Should something happen, you can pay those claims. Now, do you want to necessarily do that? Probably not. If you have $50,000 or $60,000 in the bank, you usually want to protect it. Those people that have that amount of income or more are actually happy to buy insurance. I know if I had 60 grand in the bank, I would definitely want to pay a couple $100 or $100 a month to ensure that if something happened due to my not thinking or just me being stupid one day, which happens, and then I want to make sure that I don't lose the income that I earn. Anyways, let's take you back to the point of insurance. So insurance started back in who knows when, 19 blah, blah, blah. And it was basically insuring ships. So these ships would carry cargo or tea or whatever they were carrying. And if they got raided by pirates, they would lose everything. So what these guys did, the Lloyds of London, decided, hey, let's start a company where we insure them. If something happens, we'll pay for their ship, or we'll pay for their content, so to speak. And if something happened, then they paid for that process. And then in turn, they took a piece of the profit. And these guys were happy to do that because it gave them the peace of mind, but also gave them the security that if something did happen, they were covered. And it's kind of grown into something larger than that, where you've got a group of people collectively paying in, and sometimes Timmy or Bill or Sue or whoever had a claim is going to pull out of that portion. So the ultimate question is, why is it mandatory? Well, I believe 1927 is what I found, is when they started to offer what's called liability insurance. And that was saying that if you were liable for something, you would have to pay a portion of that amount. So this is when people started to realize, like, wait a minute, why am I fixing things that aren't my fault? Billy drove a four-wheeler on my property. Why do I have to fix the grass? Why do I have to fix the fence? I'm not going to drive over there and beat up Billy, like maybe they did back then. But so what's happened is, because of the responsibility portion of the insurance, that liability has created it where now everybody has to carry that liability. Some states started to kind of grow that, where like Michigan, for example, you have to carry medical. And that's kind of a liability portion, personal injury protection, where now you've got to have certain medical coverage in case you injure someone. And a lot of it typically only results when there's a large problem. So whenever the government sits back and says, we had X amount of lawsuits, the courts are getting filled up because everybody's getting hurt, things are happening, how do we control this? Well, here's what we do, is we force everybody to carry this liability portion. In turn, that's essentially what created the mandatory insurance portion. If you're in Virginia, turn the video off. I don't think you have to have insurance in Virginia, so you guys don't really care. Anyways, other states like that do require it, that's really where it came from. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think that liability, or insurance in general, for car insurance we're talking about, do you think it's mandatory? Because house insurance isn't mandatory unless you have a loan. So if you own your house outright, you don't have to carry insurance. Why does car insurance have to be mandatory? I get it. Like, I get when I drive on the road and I'm going to go out there, I don't have the money to pay for anything. I don't have $30 million sitting in the bank, or even $10,000 sitting in the bank today. However, if you want to donate me $10 million, I'll put a link down there for PayPal. I will take it. So then I'll stop insurance. Anyways, so I mentally know that if I'm going to go drive, I want to have a little bit of coverage. Now, the cost is the thing that obviously we're thinking of. Why is it mandatory? Because it's so expensive. And it is because all these companies started to say, oh, well, if it's mandatory, let's make some money on it, right? We want to make 3 to 5 cents on every dollar that we take in, right? That's the goal. And that's what they do. They try to take in as much money as they can to serve the customer as well as they can, but also make a profit on top of it. No, I'm not going to go into how insurance companies make money. I actually did do a video over here. So if you do want to watch that, that'll be linked as well. But the main thing is, the insurance is required ever since 1927 because of the liability portion that people had to carry. Maybe one day in the future, we're all going to live in a great world where nobody has a problem. If I break your car, I'm going to pay for it. Or maybe we'll just go back to trading everything where money wasn't a thing. I really don't mind that. And then everybody was sort of equal. All right, guys, if you liked the video, thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to learn more information. Ultimately, we're going to try to save you as much money as possible. If you are interested in doing a quote, I'll put a link down there below. Most of the companies I do work with do require that you've had insurance previously, so that'll give you the best rates. Otherwise, I can refer you other places. All right, I will see you guys in the next one.